Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a big one, the IELTS writing section. We've got a comprehensive study guide here, and our mission is, well, it's pretty clear.
It is.
We're going to pull out the essential strategies, the core structures you absolutely need to know to get through that very stressful 60-minute window.
And you know, that time pressure is the first thing we have to talk about. It's the most critical hurdle.
Because it's not just an hour to write two things. The waiting is different.
It's completely different. And what's fascinating is how many people miss this. The whole section is 60 minutes, yes, but you have to be strategic because task 2 is worth double.
Double the marks of task 1.
Exactly. So if you mismanage that clock, you're really undermining your score before you've even written a full sentence of the essay.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What's the recommended time split from the guide? How do you actually respect that double weighting in practice?
The guide is unequivocal on this. You should aim for a maximum of 20 minutes for task 1. And that leaves you a solid 40 minutes for task 2.
So that 40 minutes for the essay is almost non-negotiable.
It has to be. If you spend, say, 30 minutes on that first part, you've crippled your chances on the section that matters most.
So 20 minutes, 150 words minimum for task 1. And 40 minutes, 250 words minimum for task 2. That right there, that's the foundational insight.
It is. Everything else builds on that.
All right, so let's jump into task 1. This is where your path splits depending on whether you're doing the academic or the general training module.
Precisely. For the academic module, task 1 is all about visual information. It's pure analysis. You're given a line graph, maybe a bar chart, a map.
Or one of those process diagrams, right?
Yes, exactly. Your job is basically translation. You're taking that visual data and translating it into structured, accurate English.
And the structure for this is incredibly specific. It's not just a free-form description. You start with an introduction, which is basically paraphrasing the prompt, but then there's a step the guide calls mandatory.
Yes, the overview. This is, and I can't stress this enough, the single most important paragraph in academic task 1.
The most important. Why?
Because if you miss it, your task achievement score is capped. You have to step back from the numbers and just summarize the main trends. What's the biggest change, the highest point, the lowest? You do this without using any specific data.
So no numbers in the overview.
No numbers. And if you skip it, you're likely limited to a band 5 or 6 for that criteria, even if the rest of your analysis is perfect.
Wow. Okay, so that's not a minor penalty. It's a ceiling on your score. The structure is paraphrase, then that big picture overview, and only then do you get into the body paragraphs with all the details.
Exactly. The body paragraphs are where you bring in those specific numbers to support the trends you pointed out in the overview. This is where you use that great vocabulary like a number soared or plummeted or fluctuated.
And you have to compare things, right? Not just list facts.
You must. You have to use language like compared to or in contrast or whereas. The examiner is looking to see if you can synthesize the information, not just read it off the chart.
Okay, that's a really clean roadmap for academic. Now, general training task 1 is a completely different beast. It's more about social communication.
That's right. Still 150 words, still 20 minutes, but you're writing a letter. It could be a complaint, a request for information, but the critical skill here is tone.
The tonal requirement. Walk us through that, because I feel like this is where people can go wrong right from the start, from dear.
Oh, absolutely. There are 3 main styles. First is formal. You're writing to someone you don't know, an official organization. You'd start, "Dear Sir" or "Madam," and you'd end with, "Yours faithfully."
Okay, standard formal letter. What's next?
Semi-formal. This for someone you know by name but aren't close to, like a neighbor or a landlord. "Dear Mr. Smith," and you could close with, "Yours sincerely," or "Best regards."
And then the last one is obvious, I guess. Informal.
Informal, yeah. For friends and family. Here you can use contractions, more casual language. A simple "Hi, John," and end with "Best wishes." The key thing, no matter the tone, is the structure. Salutation, a clear intro explaining why you're writing, body paragraphs covering the details.
And the prompt usually gives you bullet points for those body paragraphs.
It does, and you must cover all of them. Then a conclusion, and you're closing.
Perfect. That clarifies the 2 task 1s. Let's move to the main event, task 2. This is the 40-minute, 250-word essay that can make or break your score.
It really can. This is where you have to show a true command of language and argument. And the first challenge is that you could get one of 5 different types of essays.
5. Okay, you need to be prepared then. What are they?
So first is the opinion essay, agree or disagree. Second is the discussion essay. Discuss both views and give your opinion.
A classic.
A classic. Then you have problem solution, advantage, disadvantage, and finally the double question essay, where they literally just ask you two separate questions you have to answer.
That variety means your introduction has to be really sharp, especially that thesis statement.
The thesis statement is everything. It's your contract with the examiner. It tells them exactly what you're going to argue. For an opinion essay, it's your clear position.
Like, I completely agree.
Right. But for a discussion essay, your thesis is different. It might signal that you're going to explore both sides before offering your own viewpoint at the end. It's more of a roadmap.
So the thesis isn't always a hard opinion. Sometimes it's a structural promise. And inside those body paragraphs, everything has to be tight.
Flawless. For a high score in cohesion and coherence, every single body of paragraph has to start with a strong topic sentence.
The main idea of that paragraph, in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. And then you back it up with examples, with evidence, and the conclusion, this is crucial. You summarize your points, restate your thesis, and that's it. No new information.
Okay, so structure is the map. But you need some high-octane fuel to actually drive a high-scoring essay. Let's get into the core skills that elevate the score.
The first one is the one everyone wants to skip, brainstorming and planning.
Because you feel that clock ticking down.
Exactly. People panic and just start writing. But taking just 5 minutes to plan is the best defense against writer's block and, a disorganized mess.
What's a good way to plan quickly? Just scribbling notes.
Mind mapping is great. Topic in the center, ideas branching off. Or just listing your main points and the examples you'll use for each. It locks in your structure so you can just focus on writing.
So once you have the ideas, you need to connect them. That's cohesion and coherence, right?
Correct. Cohesion is about the linking words, the mechanics. Furthermore, in contrast, consequently, coherence is about the logical flow. Does it all make sense as one unified argument?
You can't just jump from talking about pollution to, I don't know, online shopping without a bridge.
You can't. You need what's called thematic progression, where the end of one paragraph kind of sets up the beginning of the next. It makes the whole essay feel seamless.
But all the structure in the world won't help if your language is basic. This brings us to lexical resource, or vocabulary. The guide really stresses something called collocations.
It does. For a band 7 or higher, it's not about using random big words. It's about using words that naturally go together, like a native speaker would. We're way beyond make a decision versus do a decision.
So give us a few high-scoring examples.
Okay, so instead of saying the result was bad, you might write that it had a detrimental impact. Instead of people know about the problem, they have an acute awareness of it.
I see. So it's about word partnerships that show a deeper command of the language.
Precisely. Those fixed pairings are what signal a high-level vocabulary.
All right, we've got planning, flow, and sophisticated language. Now let's talk about what not to do. Let's hit the common pitfalls.
The big mistakes. Number one, and it's so fundamental, is not understanding the question.
You mean like only answering half of it?
Yes. The prompt says, discuss both views, and D, give your opinion, and you only discuss the views. You haven't completed the task. Your score tanks.
So the solution is just slow down. Read the question carefully, underline the key word.
Exactly. The second mistake is falling short on word count.
Under 100 for task 1 or 250 for task 2. That's an automatic penalty.
It is. The easy fix here is to use your plan. If you feel you're running short, look at your body paragraphs and ask, can I add a more specific example here, a statistic, an anecdote? That will bulk it up naturally.
And the third big mistake.
Poor organization, no clear structure. This just confuses the examiner and your cohesion score plummets. The solution is what we've been saying. Stick to the format, use clear topic sentences, use those linking words.
And there's a final tip here about that last criterion, grammatical range and accuracy.
Yes. Always leave a minute or two at the end to proofread.
You're looking for the simple stuff.
The simple stuff that costs you points. Tenses, articles, and plurals. Fixing those small foundational errors shows the examiner you have control over your language.
This has been such a deep, actionable breakdown. Let's just quickly summarize the must-dos. First, time management. That 20-40 split is crucial.
Absolutely. Second, structure is king. Never forget the Task 1 overview and make sure your Task 2 thesis statement is crystal clear.
And finally, vocabulary. Move beyond single words and master those collocations.
And remember the guide's final piece of advice. You have to practice under real exam conditions. Quiet room, strict timer, no interruptions. Build that mental endurance.
That brings us to our final thought for you. The guide makes it so clear that 5 minutes of planning can totally transform a high-stakes piece of writing. So think about this. What essential communication challenge are you facing in your own life right now? A difficult email, a presentation, a proposal? What would happen if you just took 5 minutes to plan it out first? Go practice.